Somebody sent me the Book of Lost Dreams. I have them all! I have finished the most useless RPG collection in the history of mankind.
So speaking of
which...
Oh my god, it exists! Cool, bye. That gets me in trouble.
If she walks out, it's on you. Phil will be up here doing the presentation and reading the new book. Well, that's who it said for me.
I can do this. Hi.
Can you guess who set it up?
Yeah, that's...
This is one of the ways I keep the author from starting without me, hopefully. Are you ready to roll?
Oh, yeah.
Can turn the sound up.
Oh my gosh, your shirt is magnificent.
Oh, thank you.
It makes me happy. Good, it should make you happy. That's beautiful. Did you see the Torrid Sailor Moon collection that dropped today?
Yes. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
So excited.
So basically, we got on, pause, and off.
Wow, that is a really complicated microphone.
Yeah. Well, we're filming cordless, so it took us about 20 years into the next century to get there.
That's cool.
But I just want to let you know in case you wanted to play with it. I don't know if you need it or not, but I brought it up here in case we did.
It's always good to have a microphone since screaming at the audience tends to...
Oh yeah. And the people downstairs occasionally make a
It's
lot of
less that I'm
noise.
afraid about you being scared away and more that by the end I sound like one of Vixie's crows.
Okay, well, that's not doing much. Let's go check the sound bar. Hang on. Power.
He's just wandered off with my microphone. That's great. That's fine. Everything is fine. Let's see who else has clothing I can admire. You have excellent taste in shirts.
Oh my gosh, please.
Any better?
It's working.
It's working now?
Yep.
Let's run one more notch.
Those monsters. You have fabulous candy hair.
Thank you. My sister does it for me.
She's probably awesome.
I put her through beauty school, so now she has to do my hair.
That seems a fair trade.
Right?
And nicely blow dried, too.
Oh my God. So the blow dryer that we had, since I can't actually start till we have a functioning mic, is it working now?
Should be working. Okay, real quickly.
Yay!
I'm just want to remind you guys that Django Wexler is here tomorrow night. We're going to have Nick Harkaway here on the 17th and Pierce Brown in the church on the 19th. And I could get up here and tell you all the reasons why Seanan McGuire is awesome, but I'm pretty sure you guys mostly know. So just want to remind you, we close the store at 8. You don't have to leave by then, but all the purchases must be done before then because then they get tested when they all leave. So with that, let's let her take it away. Okay, Seanan.
Thank you.
They're all to you.
My alibi is not that good. It's really, really not. So hello, y'all. Thank you guys for coming. It is really wet outside. I recognize that we live in Seattle and that a certain amount of wetness should be expected, but I'm more accustomed to the wetness kind of ramping up, and this was not ramped up. This was someone wanted Ariel to come to my house and needed her to be able to swim directly there. So that's fun. Now, we have two options for this evening, and we're going to kind of show of hands, which means some of you are going to lose. And for that, I genuinely apologize. But we have to go one way or the other because we only have so much time. Option number one, I can read to you. I generally prefer not to do that because I feel like it's a little bit isolating for people that haven't read the book. And also because I didn't narrate this audiobook for a reason. But I can. I also have my audiobook reader here, so I can just make her come up and read to you and I can just fuck off. That's cool too. She doesn't think it's cool and is going to hurt me on the way home. But I thought I'd make the offer. If you do want me to read to you, I will not stand here going, "Once upon a time there was a girl," because that's mean. I will genuinely read. Or option number two, we can just chat and we can do a quick Q&A. We've got about 30 minutes to talk, and I will answer pretty much any question, although I guarantee you're going to get the story about the blow dryer because he almost got that started before the microphone came. So, if you would like me to read to you from beneath the sugar sky, please put up your hand. None of you want that. No one loses. That's magnificent. That never happens.
I just want everybody's hands to go up though, so can you ask the second part anyway?
Okay, would you like to just chat for a little while? Oh look, now everyone's hands are, except for a couple people who apparently don't want either of those things. And for you, I know there are sandwiches that the Jimmy John's, apparently I have a reader at the local Jimmy John's, and so they sent us some sandwiches. There aren't enough for everyone, but if what you want was neither a reading nor a Q&A, maybe you want a sandwich. It's free food. Some of us have been grad students. Some of us still are. So please feel free to go and meet the sandwiches. I will not judge you for doing that while I am speaking. I would also do it soon because, again, there is not enough for everyone.
We can all cry about student debt.
The grad student section is just going to form up at the sandwiches. And that's cool. We appreciate that. So technically we're here tonight to talk about Beneath the Sugar Sky. Everyone go, ooh, ah. Ooh, ah. Thank you very much. It is the third of the Wayward Children's books, which means it comes after Every Heart a Doorway and Down Among the Sticks and Bones. I will now answer the most common questions first so that we can just get that out of the way. Yes, it is best if you have read Every Heart a Doorway before you read Beneath the Sugar Sky. No, you do not need to have read Down Among the Sticks and Bones before you read Beneath the Sugar Sky, although I and my mortgage would really appreciate it if you did. No, I do not know if there will be further Wayward Children books after this. I would very much like there to be, but decisions are made by my publisher based on sales. So for there to be more books, we need this book to continue to perform fairly well. That is technically putting the onus on you, and for that I apologize, but I'm putting it on a lot of you, several million of you, not just the people in this room. And library checkouts also count. So libraries do report back to our publishers with how popular books are, and it helps me a lot that there are frequently holds on things. So you can help even if you have no money, and I'm really grateful for that, for I frequently have no money. So what else have we got? Hair dryers. Okay, so my sister is a beautician. I put her through beauty school, and now she does my hair. And she lives in the San Francisco Bay Area. We left her there when we moved up here to Washington. She wanted to be left. It was not like, bye! I tried so hard. I still am trying. The last time she came up, she said, okay, I need you to do me a favor. Okay, what's that? I need you to buy a new blow dryer. Well, why? Because your blow dryer is crap. This is a fair critique. It was a pretty bad blow dryer. Okay, email me a list of blow dryers you want me to look at, and I will buy a new blow dryer. And she emails me a list of blow dryers, at the top of which is a blow dryer labeled, "You won't buy this, but I wish you would." It's called a Beyblade. It is a $200 blow dryer.
Yep.
I have a malicious sense of humor. And a Patreon that is specifically for buying necessary things for my house. It's called the Toaster Project. So like we've bought a couch that way. And so I figured, you know what? I am just going to buy the $200 blow dryer, even though it is a waste of money. So she shuts up. So I buy the $200 blow dryer. Holy shit. It has an engine by Ferrari. It dries your hair in a third the time of any ordinary blow. It is the Sam Vimes theory of boots applied to blow dryers. It will never break. It has a lifetime warranty. You point it at your head and your hair looks amazing. It deionizes your hair. In this kind of weather, immediately after blow drying, my hair should be triangular. And no, it's just like, I'm light and fluffy. It's a summer day. Let's go dance like a shampoo commercial. I don't know if it is Satan's blow dryer or Persephone's blow dryer, but it is somebody's blow dryer. It is also a ridiculous $200 blow dryer that no one in this world should spend money on. But if you ever have like a rich relative go, what can I get you? I don't feel comfortable giving you money because that'll just encourage you to spend it on booze and weed. Say a $200 blow dryer, please, Uncle Moneybags, because it's amazing. That's the blow dryer story. It's very relevant. Yes?
Actually, totally about the Into the Drowning Deep.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Amazing. Side note, it helped me get through the loss of my service dog.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
It came at just the right time.
Good.
But I'm wondering if there's going to be more.
I would like, so Into the Drowning Deep is the most recent book under my Mira Grant byline. If you are one of today's lucky 10,000, surprise, I'm also Mira Grant. You laugh, but I've had people like full on throw their coffee at me. because they were so shocked that like just the shock reaction, it was like they had been mugged. Ah! Wait, oh no! Well, now I'm wet and sticky, thank you. So as Mira Grant, I write biomedical science fiction thrillers, and my most recent was Into the Drowning Deep, which was basically what if I ruined mermaids? Wouldn't that be fun?
And you did it in such a way that kept me up all night.
Yeah, wouldn't it be great if I ruined mermaids? Into the Drowning Deep was also the culmination of a long, slow frog boiling with my science fiction publisher, because as a traditionally published author, you will frequently get the question from people who control whether or not your book is published, well, why does this character need to be gay? Why does this character... I once had an editor ask me, why does this Mahir chick need to be Indian? There were so many problems with that sentence that it took me like 5 minutes to make words. This was not Dongwon who originally acquired that trilogy. With Into the Drowning Deep, our number of straight, white, able-bodied men is 1, and he dies really violently. Like, really, really violently. It was magical. They just kept going, well, Seanan, why are you doing this? Look at all the body parts! Okay, are you gonna kill that person? No, but I'm gonna kill everyone over here. It's good that you did that, Seanan. It's very, very good that you did that. Oh my God. I am uncomfortable and need an adult. When your editor needs an adult, you're winning. But Into the Drowning Deep is basically, what if mermaids were real? How could you make mermaids biologically plausible? How could you actually get marine biologists to look at your book and go, yeah, that would, oh God. And what if humans were exactly like humans are in the real world? Yeah, it's pretty much the Sci-Fi Channel decides that they're going to make a documentary about mermaids. They've already made the mockumentary; it went poorly, so they send a ship out to look for mermaids, and it is exactly as prepared to find them as the Sci-Fi Channel would make a ship. You know, all of their security guards are hired to look good on camera. The shutters don't work so good, but boy, is the ship pretty. Yeah, that goes well. I would really like to write the sequel. It is called Out of the Swallowing Sea, because everything is going to be terribly wrong. I try to elevator pitch Into the Drowning Deep as Jurassic Park meets the Abyss with mermaids.
Fair.
Out of the Swallowing Sea is Jurassic World meets the Abyss with mermaids. It's going to be terrible. It's whether or not I get to do it is entirely, again, based on book sales. So you can also tell Orbit that you really look forward to seeing it. You can contact them on social media or email them directly. I would love to do it. It would be really awful. Everything would be messy and horrible and death-strewn.
Yes, that was some of the best parts.
Yeah, I mean,
Blood and slime everywhere.
unfortunately, there are a couple characters that made it through book 1 that would have to then make it through book 2 because they functionally have plot armor for being most of the representation in science fiction right now, which frustrates me. I need the rest of the science fiction community to catch up because I have way too many load-bearing lesbians. No, I'm serious. If you know as a reader that I can't kill that character because this is literally the only professional autistic lesbian in science fiction right now. Like, she has a job, she does shit, she's autistic, and she's gay. You know I can't kill her because people would figure out where I lived and come at me with rocks. So I need other people to step up so that I can put more people into dire peril. That's how this needs to work. We need more representation so that everyone can die.
You too can help kill autistic lesbians.
No, that's a bad way to word it. That's a bad way to word it. But I didn't say it, so it's all good.
Well, if the publisher doesn't go for it, we're happy to start a Kickstarter.
Oh, but I'm not happy to do a Kickstarter.
Okay.
My friends Phil and Kaya do at least one Kickstarter a year, and Kaya is just in a constant state of prepping for the Kickstarter, fulfilling the Kickstarter, prepping for the Kickstarter, fulfilling the Kickstarter. And I think that would really get in the way of my busy schedule of writing books, feeding my cats, and playing Overwatch. I play a lot of Overwatch. It keeps me from actually killing everyone. It's important. Yes?
Who's your Overwatch main?
Well, I'm primarily a Diva main, but I have been learning Moira, Blizzard got me a Christmas present.
She's the healer junk rat.
She really is. Blizzard got me a Christmas present, which is good because they're nerfing Mercy again. Yay. For everyone to whom I was just speaking Greek, Overwatch is a first-person shooter with superheroes. Your main is the character you play the most of. Diva is basically functionally a little mech from anime. She wanders around in her mech, and when it blows up, she pops out and shoots people till she can summon a new mech. I am really annoying as Diva, and if you are on my team, you will know that I'm about to wipe out the enemy team by blowing myself up when I start to giggle like the Witch of the Wastes. I have been told this is very distressing and that my team wishes they could patch me through to the other team for just that 30 seconds. Oh, she has stepped out of a room. Oh, there goes the boom. And Mercy is the primary healer, who is basically now a baked chicken.
Yes.
What else have we got?
She's always a baked chicken.
She was, but at least before she was a baked chicken with mobility. They're cutting Guardian Angel by 50%. Nice. Right?
Heroes don't die, they just get nerfed.
Yeah. I love Heroes Never Die, but I've got to say my favorite Mercy Resurrect line is, I'm not done with you. Just get up. Kill for me.
Indexing.
Indexing is wholly published through 47 North, which is Amazon Publishing's publishing arm, which means it will never go out of print, which means that unless they want a third volume, no one else will print it. We frequently hit this very frustrating thing, and it's the part where self-published authors start to point at me and laugh, which is I am a traditionally published author. Now, I'm a traditionally published author because I know my limitations. I know where my willingness to interact with the public runs out. And I also know where my willingness to do the administrative work runs out. By being a traditionally published author, I write a book, I make it the best book I can, I hand it to my publishers, and I walk away. That also means I give up certain elements of control. I can't decide when my book comes out, I can't decide what my cover is, and I can't just decide there's going to be a sequel. Indexing and Indexing Reflections are a pair of books published by 47 North, which is Amazon's publishing arm, through their serials program, which has been shut down for right now. And they're basically fairy tale CSI. What if fairy tales were real, malicious, and out to get us? This is the team that tries to make that not happen. It is led by possibly the most merciless interrogation of Snow White I have ever done, which is always fun. I'm just like, how hard can I hit this myth? There will not be a third unless 47 North asks for it, because other traditional publishers don't want to pick up a volume in a series that they don't own. As to why I don't go into self-publishing, all of the stuff I listed before, with a side order of I give away a lot of stories completely for free on my website. You can go and download them, and it's wonderful. And if there is something really borked about the file, like once we had a file upload and half the story was missing, please absolutely let me know. But if, say, there's a typo on page 3, maybe don't email to call me a bitch who's wasted your time. Like, that might be a waste of your time. I have a PA now who gets to go through my email because of certain incidents like that. And that's fun for her because now she gets to see it and not tell me about it. But that's when they didn't pay. So that's when I can kind of go, yeah, you just called me names over a free short story that cost you nothing. Whatever. But if you paid for it and you're like, I want a refund because of a typo on page 3, now I kind of want to come to your house and just look at you reproachfully for an hour. Just like follow you through the house like some kind of demented animatronic. And that is also a waste of my time. And yours.
Can we pay extra for that service though?
Possibly. We could discuss it. Yes?
October Day.
Is that a question?
There are 31 of them. The last one is Halloween. What about October?
Any ideas where it's going?
It's going to be out the first Tuesday in September. It's called Night in Silence. I was complaining that I was running out of 3-word phrases from Shakespeare, and sometimes I literally answer the phone with Night in Silence, who is here, Leads of Athens, he doth wear. And finally my friend Vixie was like, what? Do you mean no 3-word phrases? We are confirmed for 2 more after this, which is The Unkindest Tide and A Killing Frost. Yeah, those are very, like, we're screwed names. We will know after Night in Silence whether that's the end of the series. With Toby, because I know what the ending is, and I've discussed the ending with my editor. So we re-up 3 books out, because that way if they go, you know what, it's been a good run, but the sales aren't there, we're finished, I have 2 books to get myself across 4 lanes of traffic and make it to the exit. Hopefully this is not the end. I really want at least another couple after this. I like to tell people, not entirely jokingly, that the Toby books will run 1 volume longer than the Dresden Files. I'm almost caught up now, so I just have a little further to go. And then I can start shooting for 1 volume longer than Anita Blake. That's the next goal. So much less sex, I mean, which is fine if sex is what you're reading for. That is great, but I think that I have written more plot than Anita Blake at this point, just by totaling up the sex scenes.
She wrote herself into a corner.
What is the most incorrect pronunciation you've ever had of your name?
Seanan.
Wow.
Yep. Now, to be fair, that was mostly the kids in middle school who would call me CNN, the All News Network. Yeah. Good times. Good times. Yes.
Are you going to work on any more musical albums?
I'm actually about midway through recording Saint of Thorns. I just have to get back down to the Bay Area for a couple of weeks to finish it. That, or admit that I'm never going to and try to convince one of the engineers up here that they want to do my album. That would end poorly, because while I love the engineers up here, we might murder each other. It'd be like praying mantises having a face-off. Just orchid versus ghost fight. Ends poorly. We are going to reprint Wicked Girls sometime this year, but I don't know exactly when. And it's going to be a reprint of Wicked Girls, then a reprint of Stars Fall Home. There is still no planned reprint for Red Roses and Dead Things. Yes?
So I saw this thing on Facebook today, Robots versus Fairies?
Robots versus Fairies! It is a new anthology. It is by the same editorial team as did The Starlit Wood. It came out today. I am Team Disney World. Like, straight. This is what Build Me a Wonderland was for. With the combusting pixies. Right. So it is they recruited a whole bunch of authors, some that you will have heard of, some that are up and coming and awesome, and had us all pick either Team Robot or Team Fairy, and then write a story to explain why our team should win. I think my team should win because Disney World. I am a very simple creature. And that's just out today, and it's super exciting, and it's a beautiful, beautiful anthology, and if you can only afford 1 book tonight, it should be Beneath the Sugar Sky, because I just got a kitten. So, yes?
Oh, gosh, now I lost it. Go ahead. Speaking of Disney, what is your #1 cannot miss thing?
Where?
Either Disneyland or Disney World or both.
At Disney World right now, if any of you is going to Disney World within the next ever, they have just put in Animal Kingdom, the world of Avatar, as in the big blue cat people. That is no one's fandom. It is not my fandom. We were not planning to go anywhere near the world of Avatar during our most recent trip to Disney World. And then everyone we said this to was like, no, you have to. Okay, well, that's weird. You have to. The big e-ticket ride, for all that they don't have e-tickets anymore, but the big attraction ride in Avatar Land at Animal Kingdom is called Flight of Passage. Right now, it has regularly a 3 to 4 hour line every day. If you are going to Disney World, you need to head for Animal Kingdom before the park opens. They will let you into the park, just not into the individual lands, and do what's called rush the line, rush that rope. You want to be in that line the second the park is open. We got there before the park was open, and we only had to wait 2.5 hours for a 6-minute ride. And all of you now think, like, what, has she hit her head? Does she hate us? They put the fast pass. The fast passes are gone 6 months in advance for that ride.
Yeah, I went there recently.
Did you make it on?
Yeah.
Good. Good. You go through a little silly pre-show. and then they put you onto a motorcycle type thing with back and leg restraints. They have done a very good job of making it accessible to different body types. They do at this point have a test bike so that they can check and see if you will be able to ride the ride. You do have to transfer to get the full experience. So if you are a full-time wheelchair user, you will probably not be able to ride. We're not sure if you have prosthetics that are fully below the knee, whether you would be able to because of the way the leg restraints are configured. We haven't been able to get a straight answer on that. You get onto your little bike, it does some little bullshit about bloop, 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 connecting you to your avatar, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And then your ride starts to breathe. And you fall forward, and you are literally on a banshee on Pandora. Or if you're me, you're on a banshee for about 2 seconds, and then you're on a Lugia flying over Johto because Pokemon are real. It sounds silly, and it is, but it is such an immersive ride. They have done such a beautiful job with the 3D environment, with the way that the physical aspects of the ride itself, the things you can't ignore, the feel of the ride, the feel of a living thing breathing between your legs. The air rushing over you, the scent sculpting, the water coming in as you plow through a waterfall. I have never seen the future of amusement park rides the way I did on that ride. And I literally came off of it with tears in my eyes, because while it is not my fandom, I grew up on the Dragon Riders of Pern and on Pokemon, which came in when I was a young teenager, and I latched onto that with all hands. And for just a moment, I actually got to ride one of my Pokemon. I cannot recommend it highly enough. It is worth the wait. Rush that line. Be in that line. It's beautiful. Just bring water. And also the environment at Pandora is some of the best that Disney Imagineering has ever managed. Disney is a giant blood-sucking corporate tick feeding on the lifeblood of America and the rest of the world, but boy does Disney parks know how to do their job. Their only goal is to make you give them all your money and be happy about it so that you'll come back later when you have more money. They are so good at their job. We leave Disney World every time going, we could go back. We're already trying to convince some friends of ours, like, come on, 4 is good. 4 is nice. We'll take you to be our guest. The gray stuff is delicious.
I'm taking my son for his birthday.
Awesome. Also, and this is silly, but we highly recommend eating at Cinderella's Royal Table. It is a hot and cold running princesses restaurant, and if you can get one of the dinner reservations for 9 p.m. or later, it is a hot and cold punchy running princesses restaurant. They are exhausted. They are not breaking character, but they are, remember the Micro Machine Man?
Yeah.
They are running through you like, hello friends, it's wonderful to see you. Have you seen my dwarfs? I haven't seen my dwarfs in a while. I wonder if they're over here where the coffee is. Please, Snow White is down for the count. Yes?
While we're on the subject of Disney, what is your usual routine at Disneyland? What do you do first?
Everyone, welcome to the Disney Power Hour. So I have seriously damaged my left foot. It will never be normal again. I'm good for something like this, but for Disneyland and Disney World, we have to rent me a motorized scooter. Because otherwise, after about an hour in the park, I can no longer put any pressure on my foot without screaming, and that is really disruptive. Just a little. So that kind of controls our routes. We have to know where the crowds are going to be. We cannot go counter-crowd anymore because people do not get out of the way of the woman on the 300-pound motorized vehicle that no one taught her how to use. It's like, wow, y'all want to die on Disney property. So generally what we will do is we will pick up my scooter, and if we've been very good, we are staying at the Grand Californian, which is our favorite place to stay because it has a door straight into DCA. But we will come downtown Disney, which is still downtown Disney in California because screw rebranding. Yeah. Get into the park and then head straight up the left side of Main Street and curve for the world-famous Jungle Cruise, where they are no longer allowed to mention the presence of the alligators. They literally cannot acknowledge that they are there.
Oh, yeah.
Which is hilarious but also horrible. And from the Jungle Cruise, we will then meander along, checking everyone we see for lanyards until we hit the Haunted Mansion. And then Vixie will spend the next 2 hours trying to convince me that the Haunted Mansion is exactly the same now as it was 5 minutes ago. No, really. Honest it is. We can go somewhere else. We can. We really can. Oh.
Ever.
You actually... You actually have not, since they changed the handicapped access, but we did have the one incident when I was frustrated and they would let me just get right back on, where you eventually fucked off to the French market. Which, to be fair, was once. And from there, it's usually we just keep curling that way through the park. We haven't been to Disneyland much since they shut down the Big Thunder Ranch because I'm kind of having a fit of pique. Like, y'all took out my favorite restaurant and my favorite place to just go where there is not a crowd, and the place where you held Long Lost Friends Week, to put in Star Wars Land, which really belongs in DCA. Take out It's a Bug Land and leave us alone. They did not leave us alone.
Anthologies.
Yes.
So I just read Where
Cool.
the other night. Your piece was amazing.
Thank you.
They were actually, for an anthology, they flowed really well together, you know, with all the different authors. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. How do you look at each other's work, or do you just all submit work?
We all just submit work, and you hope that everyone is actually respecting the theme.
Has it ever happened where that did not happen and you were like, really?
Yeah. There is one anthology I will not name because it is impolite. If you've read it, you'll realize which one I'm talking about very quickly, but otherwise I don't want to be hit with sticks. Where we were given a word count. So generally with an anthology, you are given a word count. You will be between 2,000 and 8,000 words. We would prefer stories in the 5,000 to 6,000 word range. You are given a topic. That topic can be as broad as urban fantasy or science fiction, or it can be as narrow as were creatures that are not wolves. You are then expected to write a story to those standards and turn it in, with the expectation that if you don't actually match all of the submission guidelines, you'll be rejected. The problem is that, as we all acknowledge, there are some people whose names will sell a book. If Stephen King wants to send you his laundry list and has written at the bottom, "Swamp Monsters, bleh," it will be accepted for the Swamp Monsters anthology because now they can put Stephen King, brand new story on the cover. And so you kind of have these two dials. How good is it versus how well known is the author? I live in terror of the day that someone takes something they shouldn't, because they go, oh, we can put Shannon's name on the cover and we're a small anthology. Like, I work very hard not to be that girl. I did this one anthology where standards, 2,000 to 7,000, blah, blah, blah. And we all pretty much matched it, except for one of the biggest names in the book who turned in a 30,000 word story on an anthology that was 7,000 words maximum that did not bear very much resemblance to the actual topic of the anthology. Like, it was supposed to be about amusement parks, and a couple carnivals maybe got in there, and this person wrote about a haunted house that had a merry-go-round in the backyard for some reason. And it was really awkward. If you read the reviews of that particular book, which I'm still not naming, they're all either 5-star reviews because of that author. I got 30,000 words of this world that I really love. Or 1-star reviews because of that author. And I just felt bad because it made the rest of us look like we phoned it in. Like, we all stayed within our word count, which means our stories are this long. They're this long. And then
actually following the rules.
We followed, but you can't say that. You can't go on social media and be like, yeah, Stephen King just turned in a shopping list, y'all. We worked. So I love anthologies. I do as many of them as I can. My beta readers wish I would do fewer of them. My paying readers sometimes wish I would do fewer of them. My mother wishes that anthologies would send me 2 copies instead of 1, because if she tries to touch the one, she just kind of gets glared at. Yes?
So I am very grateful for how prolific an author you are. And I am curious about... So you say that you spend your time writing, playing Overwatch, and feeding your cats, which is great. Like, how much time do you spend writing? I'm just curious.
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
Well, it is my job. Like, I don't have another job. I don't have children. I have cats and I have Overwatch. I usually get up about 7. It takes about an hour before I can type, which is weird, but my hands don't wake up as fast as the rest of me. So I will play a game called Flight Rising, which is just clicking until such time as I can actually type a sentence and everything's okay. And then I'm usually at my computer from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. With maybe 2 hours of that spent either taking a nap or eating a meal. On days when I nap, I frequently am not hungry, so I just have a bigger dinner. I do actually eat food. We can see that. It's all good. So I write a lot. I don't take weekends off. I don't take mini vacations. I do a lot of conventions, which from a writing perspective is taking a vacation because I'm not getting any work done. But from a sanity perspective is definitely not taking a vacation. I did take a vacation in 2017. I went to Disney World. That was magical. And literally every publisher I work with forgot, despite my having told them like 12 times that I was going to Disney World and would not be answering my phone on the Haunted Mansion, that I was going to Disney World. So my inbox was a nightmare hellscape by the time I was done. Yes?
Okay, we've talked about Overwatch, we've talked about the writing. As someone who's probably too obsessed with their cats, tell us about the cats.
How's Alice?
How's Alice?
I have 3 cats.
Okay.
My house has 6 cats.
All right.
My cats are Alice, Thomas, and Elsie, who are all papered Maine Coons. Alice and Thomas are both from Pine Coon Maine Coons, which was a Seattle breeder run by Betsy and Dave Tinney. They are no longer breeding, which breaks my heart. You will know if I ever acquire a time machine, because I will suddenly start having Maine Coon kittens that I can't explain the provenance of, because I will have been buying them from Betsy 20 years ago and then hopping forward with very confusing vaccination records. Elsie is from a new breeder in San Lorenzo, California, TT Cats Maine Coons. She's a tortoiseshell. She is 5 months old today. She is a nightmare. She's very sweet, but she's already bigger than the other non-Maine Coon cats. Our 4th upstairs cat is Megara, the candy corn kitten. She's 2 years old, but she's still a kitten because we keep her next to Maine Coons. She's kind of her own cat. Like, technically she belongs to me. I'm responsible for her vet bills. As far as she's concerned, she belongs to one of my housemates who's like, I did not sign up for a cat. As far as the Maine Coons are concerned, she can belong to anyone but me. That's all they care about. And she was an impulse buy cat. We saw a small child at a Petco pick her up by the head and filled out the adoption forms immediately. She's very sweet. She looks like candy corn. She dumb. I don't necessarily mean that pejoratively. It is just the only accurate description for a cat who thinks her name is Yell, who has been known to get into fights with furniture and lose. She falls off stuff, but it's okay because she's too stupid to know that gravity hurts. And then downstairs, Mom has Lizzie and Hercules. Alice is the oldest of my 3 Maine Coons. She has large cell lymphoma. She is dying, which is why I don't talk about it very much, because how is Alice? The answer to that is always she is dying. She has completed her first course of chemotherapy and is currently in remission, but that does not last for very long in cats. If we're lucky, we might get a year. Part of why I'm still running the Patreon that I mentioned earlier, because it's like it's for buying stuff for the house. You'd think I'd be done. Well, 80% of the money from the Patreon in 2017 went straight into my cats. They were so expensive last year. Oh my God. And it's not even Maine Coon health problems. It's not, you bought a cat that you knew might have heart condition. No, they've just come up with new things to go wrong. They are broken little babies. But Alice is the best cat I've ever had, and she is worth the fight. She is still Alicing. We have not yet hit the point where we are torturing her to keep her with me. And I have people checking very carefully to make sure I don't go to that point, because I know that it is a risk. She is my best friend and my favorite thing. And no offense intended, but I would literally murder every single person in this room if I got a magical cure for my cat. And I would be sorry, because you are all very nice people, but you don't snuggle with me at night. And that's good, because that would be creepy. Thomas, her younger brother, had 2 surgeries last year because he ate too much hair, and it turns out he has an anxiety disorder, which is only exacerbated by his sister, who has been with him literally his entire life being sick. It stresses him out. So he wears clothes now. If you go to my Twitter, you will see many pictures of a cat the size of a human toddler. He weighs 28 pounds, wearing fancy little shirts. His favorite has rainbow fish scales on it, and we call him Namor, King of the Ocean. We shout Imperious Rex a lot, because it's great. He has opinions about his clothes. You say my cat wears clothes, and people are like, oh, you finished your evolution into a crazy cat lady, haven't you? But no, it is for medical reasons, and he has thoughts. He was sulking the other night, and I'm like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And one of my housemates went, he doesn't like his shirt. So we'll just see about that. And we go and we take his shirt off, and he shakes himself out. We bring another shirt over, and he literally steps his little arms into it to help us put it on, and then the sulking was over. The problem is Maine Coons are very smart as cats go, but they are still cats, which means they are not very smart as humans go. And Thomas has decided that wearing shirts means he is a people now. He can do all the people things. His logic is sound. I mean, we do insist that people wear clothes when they're outside their bedrooms, so sometimes he takes the remote control. Why? Because people do this. He jumps up on the table. You cannot keep him off the table. Why? Because people sit at the table. Well, people don't sit on the table, Thomas. Yes, they do. I'm getting ready to run a Sailor Moon RPG. Using the cinematic unisystem that was developed for Buffy the Vampire Slayer because it works so much better than the Sailor Moon RPG that was put out in the 90s, which is crap. And last night we were doing CareGen, and Thomas decided that people use pencils. So he was literally grabbing writing utensils in his teeth and then dragging them on paper. And I'm like, this is simultaneously adorable and a big problem for me, bud. It's a big, big problem. I am a people. Yes, you are. I'm fucked.
Is he typing yet?
No, but he does know how to work the mouse. He's known how the mouse works for quite some time. And he'll click it to watch YouTube. I put on YouTube videos of crows, and he'll click the mouse to make it start again. And I'm like, this, I taught you this. I might not be a people. Thankfully, no. I actually have specifically not set up one-click purchasing on Amazon for just that reason, because the cat will start hitting the keyboard sometimes, and I'm like, Thomas is going to buy a television. It's not going to be cat treats. It's not going to be something small where you're like, oh, that's cute. It was $7. I forgive you, buddy. No. He's going to order a life-size Tyrannosaurus Rex, and no one's going to believe it wasn't me.
There might be reasons for that.
There are absolutely reasons for that, but they cost $7,000, so I don't want the reasons. Yes, dear.
So when are you going to be writing stories with dinosaurs?
Well, I already wrote one. You have my sincere apologies for what is about to happen, but in my defense, you started it. Which is in the Jurassic Chronicles anthology, and I'm getting ready to write a book that I think is a Mira Grant book. I don't know yet. It's not under contract, which makes it a big, beautiful, undiscovered country, but it feels like a Mira Grant book, which is basically what if Jurassic Park inspired an entire generation of geneticists and paleontologists to actually do it with decent theme park management. So the problem is not the theme park full of dinosaurs. The problem is everything else. And that's going to have a lot of dinosaurs and a lot of raptors because I love raptors. They've recently defined a new saurian clade. It's called Megaraptora. Guess what it consists of? Fuck off, giant raptors! That is I know you wince every time I curse into the microphone, but that is the scientific term for what that clade consists of. I am a scientist, I can say that. The first member of the clade to be defined was the Australorhinator, which is a raptor-type dinosaur from Australia with the best name ever, Australorhinator. It's a raptor-type dinosaur from Australia. It is the length of a Greyhound bus. Yes. Just imagine a velociraptor covered in feathers. We know they had feathers because we found impressions. Just imagine a velociraptor that looks like a sulfur-crested cockatoo because it is Australian. So coming at you with its head the length of your entire body. Like that's the best thing that has ever happened. Other people don't always agree with me on that. And I'm just saying, they're super extinct, but science owes me a birthday present.
So how did I have something to do with that?
I don't know. I have no idea. Yes?
Is there anything you can tell us about middle grade?
It is about math. There's so much math. I actually just flipped another draft. That middle game is going to be my first full-length novel from Tor.com, which is the publishing house that does the Wayward Children books. I've shown you this 3 times now, thus fulfilling my professional obligations. And it is about alchemy and children's books and the encoding of symbolism and what it means to be a family and how many buildings I can drop on people. And it was initially inspired by a song by Dr. Mary Kroll called The Doctrine of Ethos, which was in turn inspired by a piece of Pythagorean philosophy. So it's super fun. It's the only book I've ever written in a fit of pique. You're supposed to write an outline to try and sell a book once you're a professional. So I wrote a pitch for my agent. I'm like, here's my 8-page pitch for this book. And she said, I don't understand. So I wrote a 150,000 word book in 6 weeks to show her. I think she's not going to understand a lot of stuff from now on. It's not really a very time-effective way of showing them all, but it sure did work. So it's kind of my mad science superheroes book. I am very excited. I don't know yet when it's going to come out, but my editor, Lee Harris, is also the editor for the Wayward Children's books, and he's very excited. Thinks it's beautiful. So, yes?
Speaking of superheroes, is there any possibility at any point of more Velveteen?
So Velveteen Versus is, I know, like every 30 seconds, here's another series you've never heard of. Yay! Velveteen Versus is basically the story of a world where superheroes are real, and so are mega corporations that believe in entertainment investments. So superheroes tend to get acquired around the age of 8 and then raised in the company like child stars. And it goes very, very poorly for a great number of them. There have been 3 books so far: Velveteen versus the Junior Super Patriots, Velveteen versus the Multiverse, and Velveteen versus the Seasons. Velveteen versus the Seasons makes me happy because it means that on the TV tropes page for the Velveteen stories right now, there is the entry, "Deal with the devil with Santa Claus." I don't think anyone else gets to have that line, so that's nice. Volume 4 is actually ongoing on my blog right now. And the company that put out the first 3 books, Isfic Press, they're a very small press that did not fully understand what they were getting themselves into when they asked if they could print these. So they're eagerly looking forward to Volume 4 going out of print, which happens at the end of this year, I believe, at which point we'll be able to see if someone wants to package the first 3 books into a more widely available format. And can continue from there. Right now, the only way to get books 1 and 2 is to buy the physical editions because the ebooks are out of print. They are very difficult to get directly from ISFIC because their shipping department has problems, but you can generally get them from Borderlands Books in San Francisco, California, which is happy to do mail order. I'm not pitching another bookstore while in this bookstore because I'm trying to be mean. Literally, Jude is the only person I know who has been able to get ISFIC to mail books, largely because I threatened to have my friend Mike, who lives an hour away from the shipping department for ISFIC, go over to the shipping department for ISFIC and start breaking kneecaps. It's a useful service that we provide. So we've got about another 5 minutes before I need to move on to signing books, lest I be set on fire by Dwayne. Yes?
How long is the encrypted series going to go on?
Until it's over.
Do you know how many books?
I have no idea. None at all. I outlined the first 10 thinking I had outlined the whole series, and my editor's response was, okay, so what happens after the first half?
Yeah.
And then, as so often happens, some of the books metastasized and became more than one book, because that's a thing. We're currently wrapping up Antimony, obviously, which she's got magic for nothing, tricks for free, and then That Ain't Witchcraft. Because, yeah, that's actually, I think, the first time I've admitted that book is happening, which is good, because I just finished writing it. I finished the first 2. I thought there were only 2, and my editor went, yeah, and? I'm like, no, the Sarah books are next. No, they're not. Shit. The Sarah books will be next, assuming that the series continues. Those will be imaginary numbers and calculated risks, and they will drive me slowly up a tree because Sarah does not see faces the way that normal humans do. So all of those little "she smiled," that you can't do that. Like, Sarah, what is that thing you're doing with your face? Why are you doing that? Are you hungry? Stop. Oh. So that'll be a party, but this is all building up to my ultimate goal, which is not currently under contract, but is why I need people to keep buying Encrypted, which is Spelunking Through Hell, A Visitor's Guide to the Underworld, otherwise known as Grandma Alice. Yes! The cats were named after the characters, not the other way around. People always ask. And then the second Sparrow Hill Road book comes out this July. Yes! And that was the book that nearly broke me, because being a traditionally published author, one of the other things you can't do is announce your own work. You have to wait till the publisher does it. And for reasons, because we are repackaging Sparrow Hill Road, it's going to have a whole new cover. Amber Whitney, Unicorn Empire, who has done the fantastic October Day shirts you may have seen around, the Sparrow Hill Road shirts, lots of other things, but these are the immediately relevant ones, has done the covers for both Sparrow Hill Road and The Girl in the Green Silk Gown, and they are gorgeous. But it means that when they committed to the repackage, Penguin, which distributes Stahl, was like, no, we want both covers finally, fully finished and turned in before we announce this is happening so it can be a big deal. I'm like, that's great. People ask me about this book all the time, and I don't like lying to my readers. It makes me very uncomfortable, even if I know that they'll be understanding. So could we do it soon? Sure. 6 months later. I talk a lot. People think I can't keep a secret. I've been keeping this secret for 9 months and it makes me very uncomfortable and I need an adult. Please stop. It wasn't until there was actually an internal, like something went wrong inside and Amazon got a feed for Girl in the Green Silk Gown. It popped up with no cover, Sparrow Hill Road 2. I got inundated with email and suddenly, within 2 days, we had a cover reveal. Magic! But I am super excited and I can totally keep a secret. No one needed that stress tested. Do we have any final questions before I move on to signing your books? And yes.
So you obviously write a lot, but do you also read a lot? And if so, what was your favorite book that you read last year?
My favorite book we're going to do 2017 because we're like only a little over a week into 2018. My favorite book in 2017 is a tie between Winter Tide by Ruth Anna Emrys, which is basically Wicked for the Cthulhu mythos. It is told from the perspective of one of the last 2 surviving Deep Ones following the internment of the Japanese Americans during World War II. Because after the Devil's Reef incident, all of the Deep Ones who hadn't been killed were rounded up into concentration camps. They put the Japanese citizens in there with them, and the presidential decree that freed them at the end of the war was too sweeping and let the Deep Ones out as well. So we're following Afra, who's one of the last 2 Deep Ones, as she tries to deal with the fact that her culture and civilization have functionally been wiped out by one of the other races of man. And she has to ask herself the question, is it over? Like, is this where I go to the sea and acknowledge that the time of mist is done? And we move into the 3rd and final of the ages of man, after which humanity dies. Remember, the Deep Ones have the litany of Earth. They've spoken to the keepers of the Great Library. They know that after the fall of the Deep Ones comes the fall of man. And then we move on to the Ch'tur, which is the cockroaches that come after the Great Nuclear War. So technically, she holds the fate of all humanity with her decisions. It is the queer, liberal retelling of Lovecraft that frankly should prove the existence of life after death, because HP should be crawling out of his grave to scream at us. It is beautiful. Is that you, Oz? Okay, they've stopped. It is beautiful. It is spectacular. Winter Tide by Ruth Anna Emrys. It is just such a gorgeous book, and it is beautiful in ways that aren't even apparent from volume 1. The other book that I loved best in 2017 was In Other Lands by Sarah Reese Brennan. It should be taught as part of a triptych. It should be Every Heart a Doorway, The Girl Who Circumnavigated Fairyland in a Ship of Her Own Making, and In Other Lands as the modern portal fantasy unveiled. It is basically a full interrogation of the portal fantasy from the other side, following the kid who goes over the wall. How do you decide whether you can come back? When have you lost your opportunity at Earth in favor of this fantasy land that you never actually chose? You just sort of got consumed by through attrition. It is also the story of a bisexual Jewish boy named Elliot who is able over the course of the book to have relationships with both men and women without ever once being painted as a slut, an interrogation of what it means to have misogyny, to have patriarchy versus matriarchy, all of that, and done with the best beautiful sense of humor you will ever see. The book literally opens with, one day Elliot is loaded into a car for a multi-hour trip out into the countryside. Elliot objected on the grounds that spending several hours in a car would make him violently ill. The other children objected on the grounds that spending several hours in a car with Elliot would make them violently sick of Elliot. It's beautiful. It is just a spectacular, spectacular book, and it's also partially my fault that it actually got written as a book, which I'm super proud of. If any of y'all have not bought your books and were planning to tonight, you should run, don't walk to the nearest cashier because they are about to close them and we want to let these nice people go home. This is technically a ticketed event. If you did not buy a ticket, I will still sign your book because I'm nice that way and also because he can't actually stop me, but I do ask you to please wait until the people who did buy tickets come to the front of the line because that is polite and also keeps him from throwing chairs at my head. My name is Seanan McGuire. If you didn't know that and you thought that you were hearing someone else speak for the last 40 minutes, congratulations on not paying very much attention to your surroundings. You will die quickly when the zombie apocalypse begins. My most recent book is Beneath the Sugar Sky. If you buy it this week, it feeds into my opening week numbers and my publisher likes that and maybe gives me another book in the series. If you can't buy it, that's cool too, and we do still have free sandwiches, as you may well be hungry. We all are. My next book after this will be Tricks for Free, which comes out the the first Tuesday in March. It is the next book in the Encrypted series. If you don't know what that means, the first book in the Encrypted series is Discount Armageddon. If you come too close to me, I'll probably show you a picture of my cat, and I'm going to go sit over there and sign your books now. Good night.